Can we hear it start up?
Sure can.
So it's a one-piece tilt front end now.
It's a 66 Fairlane.
This is my office right here.
Hi, Randy Bybee, Awesome Cars Forever. I'm here today with Chad, Shellie, and Ross Sewell, and they're going to tell us about this 1948 Hudson.
In 2003, Shelley's dad bought this car, and it was already pretty much done, but he changed a few things, chromed a few pieces under the hood, and I mean just made it his own. And when coincidentally Ross was born in 2003, and for whatever reason he fell in love with this car, and then the movie Cars came out, and that just made him love it more with Doc Hudson in the movie and stuff. And so every time Mikey would get it out, which is her dad,
Mike Rubel.
Yeah, Mike Rubel. Ross would always want to go with him. They'd always get in it and go to McDonald's. We'd take him to the car shows, drop him off, or Mikey would take him to the car shows. We'd go pick him up. I mean, he just loved the car. And so anytime he got a chance, he was talking his grandpa into getting it out and taking it for a ride. A lot of trips to McDonald's. I mean, a lot.
Nothing wrong with that.
They knew him by name. Both of them.
Once they seen the car roll in, they knew Ross and Mikey were coming. Yeah. And then, and for years, he always said anything ever happened to him, Ross would get the car. So in 2016, he got diagnosed with a very aggressive form of stomach cancer. And they had the surgery, removed the cancer, but he just couldn't get past all the other surgeries he had to have. And, you know, whenever he was laying there, Shelly's mom said for me to go home and get the car because she didn't want none of the other kids fighting over it or anything like that. And after we done that, Mikey had tried telling her mom to sell the car, pay hospital bills, but she's like, I can't do that to Ross. So I came home, I got the car running, brought it here, and that's where it's been ever since. So we didn't really do nothing with it to finish that year out. But 2017, it was really a roller coaster. The first couple rides we took in it, the end of 2016, was really emotional, and it didn't seem right to be in the car without Mikey. And it took Shellie a long time before she was able to get in it, drive it, ride in it, just whatever. And it's just been one of those things that it's become a family heirloom. Everybody that ever seen this car knows that it's Ross, and before that they knew it was Mikey, and so we get in it and drive it everywhere we can. We drove it down to Somerset, Kentucky last year. We've driven it down to Evansville.
It's been to Indianapolis a couple times.
Yeah, been to Indianapolis. I actually added a hitch to it so we could pull a vintage camper with it to go down to Evansville so we can camp out down there and stuff. And
we take it to Connersville.
It
goes everywhere.
We drive it all over the place.
And we drive it in town.
Yeah. It's got a big 460 engine in it, big Ford engine, and it'll move. And I mean, driving it to Kentucky, I didn't have no issues. We didn't take any interstate. It was all back roads, so we had the hills and curves and everything else, and it handled beautifully.
Gets 13 miles to the gallon.
That's a little steep, but yeah, that's still pretty good.
Yeah, and Ross, he thinks it's got a 20-gallon tank, but I don't think it's that big. Ross, he's got his own ideas about stuff, and he's just, once it gets in his head, he won't let it go. So he wanted to check the fuel mileage out, so that's why it's on the top of her head that they got 13 miles a gallon. When the car first came in the family, it had pinstripe flames on it, and a guy by the name of Lloyd Johnson, pretty sure he's the one that put the pinstripe flames on it to begin with. And when my father-in-law had it, he always talked about getting rid of them ugly pink flames, but it took him a long time before he did. He actually got rear-ended in the car, and that's when he decided to get the flames taken off. The guy that painted the car, he did a great job of matching up the paint and stuff, but there were some other things going on with it cosmetically, and I actually got a hold of Lloyd Johnson because that's who my father-in-law said he wanted to paint the car again, and always wanted ghost flames on it. And for whatever reason, that was something that Mikey always wanted, was ghost flames.
And he talked about it all the time.
And so last year we bit the bullet and just said we're going to do it. And I contacted Lloyd, and he's like, I'd love to paint the car for you. And we got set up, and he did the ghost flames for us last year. And when we picked the color out, everybody was like, I don't know about the orange. But when we got the car back, it was everything we'd hoped for. Just the way that they look, the way they flow, it's just something else. And when my father-in-law had the car also, when he first got it, it had a tan interior in it, and he got
all tan velour.
Yeah, and he got kind of sick and tired of that, so he took it to GWK, and they redone the interior on it. And the reason that it says 48 Hudson on the seats is because he got tired of everybody thinking it's a Mercury. And if you ask Ross, he's tired of everybody thinking it's a Mercury too. So,
and that's why we also had it painted on the trunk.
We got, we call it, most cars are girls, but this one right here is the old man. And I always tell people it's because he's really grumpy when you wake him up in the morning.
He sounds like a grumpy old man when you start him.
Really?
Yeah. That Palmia plate was my dad's, and we keep it on there in honor of him.
He was a Vietnam veteran. And he always flew a POW flag, and always had this on the car. And he's just, I tell you, he's been gone almost 7 years, and you can tell he's definitely missed, but we try to keep his memory alive.
We do. I'll show you something really funny. I hadn't thought of this until just now, but
Okay.
lift the hood up, Chad. I'm going to show him that plaque in there. So it hadn't even been a year that we had the car, and Chad was working on the motor, and he sent me this picture of that sticker back there. And I had to laugh. I said, that is too funny.
Built with my children's inheritance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
And then also we keep his nameplate there. See it right there?
Oh, right up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me come around the front and get a better shot of that, or try to.
Yeah.
The company he worked for, he was a supervisor, so when they got shut down, and he took his nameplate and took it off and mounted it up there on the firewall.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just a big beefy engine.
This is Ross's favorite thing right here. You want to show him that, Ross? Want to show him what it does?
Ross gets a kick out of it when Shelley's driving, because
It embarrasses me.
he does this when there's a bunch of guys around.
Yeah. Because him and Papa used to ride through Ball State. And, and Papa would let him blow the wolf whistle at the girls.
Do it again. That's funny. That is funny.
It actually burn up.
While we got the hood open.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's all right. Can we go ahead and start it up?
Yeah. Him and Papa used the wolf whistle so much it actually went out about a year after we had it. We had to get a new one.
Yeah.
It's a pulley system.
Yeah. Pulley system wipers.
And they actually work, but they don't work well.
Let me go around back so I can hear it. Sounds really nice out back. Let me see if I can get a quick shot of the interior while it's open.
A couple of years ago, we had this at a car show up in Gas City at Ducktail Run, and Gene Winfield was up there, and we had the glove box signed by him.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. That silver on there is his autograph.
Let me go around to the other side and get a shot of that. Thank you. Very nice custom interior.
You just push on that and it'll come forward. You don't have to, yeah, there you go. If you look up at that headliner, that's what all the seats used to look like. Was just like that.
Well, I think it's very nice the way it is right now. So the headliner goes well with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The interior, I believe, came out of a Lincoln, and I think that's what the drivetrain is. I believe it's C4 transmission with a 9-inch Ford rear end. But I mean, it all flows so good. And you honestly, driving it down the highway, you can't tell that I could do 70, 80 miles an hour, and it's just seems like it's just cruising along. And I mean, it don't have no issues out of any of it. So I mean, it's like I said earlier, it's a great cruiser, and it just gets right down the road.
The little Chihuahuas in there. My dad was a big guy, 6'5". His ring finger was what, size 15 or size 14.
So.
Wow.
But he loved little dogs. And he had 2 little Chihuahuas, Cody and Mackenzie, and he would tote them around in this car. And he got those little bobblehead Chihuahuas, and Ross insisted on keeping those in there. So we have those in there. And the big dice. My dad loved the fuzzy dice. Ross loves to keep the things that my dad liked about it.
Yeah.
And every time we talk about changing something, he really protests if he thought that my dad wouldn't have liked it. He was protesting the orange flames until he saw them. And then he was like, "Oh, okay."
There's a picture I'll have to send you of what he's going for. Actually,
I think it's hanging up on the wall in there, isn't it?
I like these dice on the doors too.
Yeah. Have them on the wheels too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everywhere you can incorporate.
And I love.
Chad came out and took the whole car apart. The Lloyd Johnson, when we took it to have it painted, he said, the more stuff you can get off of it that I don't have to mess with, the cheaper the price will be. So Chad brought it out here and he took everything off, and you wouldn't believe how many pieces, from the lid sled to the fender, everything. There were so many pieces, so many pieces, and he had to keep them all straight. And then we came out the week before he got it finished, and we polished every piece by hand.
Wow.
And then he drove it home, no headlights, no brake lights, no nothing, just a shell with brand new paint. Drove it home and put it together piece by piece.
we're still wanting to. Ross is wanting chrome bumpers and the chrome nose piece, and I'm honestly thinking he's trying to build this car in this picture. My father-in-law went to an auction because he knew that this picture was going to be here. That's the only reason he went to this auction. And it.
Oh wow.
And yeah, we think that's what Ross is wanting, is going for. Is that what you're going for, buddy? Yeah, he says it is.
But then with the orange flames on that, and then the orange flames we added to our car, they look very similar.
Yep.
The only thing that's really missing is just the chrome piece on the hood and the chrome bumpers.
It's a beautiful picture.
Yeah.
It's a little dusty.
Yeah.
Just sits out here in the garage. But I've had a few people actually give me a tin they found at just a little signed tin. They found at a flea market. It's got the same picture on it. My father-in-law found a little key box that's got the same picture on it. And so we're Hudson people, I guess.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
What, do you have anything to tell him? So Ross has cerebral palsy and he doesn't speak. He got a Hudson tattoo.
That is cool.
So
That is cool.
Ross lives Hudson and Mike Rubel. That is like his main focus. So my dad had one tattoo. And Ross, when he turned 18, went and had this tattoo. This was my dad, the same exact tattoo, but in his it said Vietnam and it had the years that he served. So in Ross's he put Dad's name and the years that he lived, but all of the rest of it is the same tattoo.
Very nice.
And then he said one and done. And then he decided, no, he better get a Hudson emblem. So now it's 2 and done.
That's all right.
see.
That's
Did
all
you
right.
tell them about the 13s and the Hudson emblem?
Yeah, Ross made up this emblem on his own. He added 13s to it because he says that's his lucky number.
Nothing wrong with that.
Which the old man has the number 13 on the trunk.
Yeah.
It was Mikey's favorite number, 13. When they pulled the car out of the field, when he seen the picture of it, it had 13 spray painted
on the side.
And he's like, I gotta have that car. Now, I went with him to look at this car, and he made the guy that had it an offer. And the guy's like, no, I can't take that. That's too low. So Mikey walked away from it. And about 2 or 3 weeks later, maybe a month later, the guy called him and said, hey, is that offer still good? Because I lost my job and I need some money. So Mikey went to the bank, got the money, and went and bought the car.
It up.
And I think he pretty much stole the car because it was, he bought it, he got a good deal on it.
Yeah.
But it's, like I said, we drive it everywhere we can, and I know that whenever we're out and about, Mikey's smiling down on us because, I mean, he wouldn't want it any other way.
Nope, and this car will be in this family for
Many years.
many years. And it will always have his name in it, and it will always be driven in his memory. Yeah.
Deservedly so. Deservedly so. So,
You got anything else to tell him? No? You love your car? You love Pablo?
I'd love it.
There, he is in his zone when he is sitting in the car, and we're just going for a drive. There's nothing that he loves more than just driving through the reservoir.
Been a while since I've been out there, but yeah, that'd be a nice drive.
And when he doesn't feel like taking him, he always talks me into it. But see, we have a thing. If I drive the car and I don't really feel like it, he has to buy me ice cream.
There you go. That is a good deal. Don't you think? That's a good deal.
Yep.
So,
But we're blessed. We sure are, because you know,
and it is a beautiful car.
Mama didn't have to give it to us. She could have just as easily took it and sold it and paid bills.
Yeah.
You know. But she seen all those years that my dad said, this is Ross's car. Because my dad wanted to sell it several times. He wanted to go for something different. He begged Ross. He was like, let's get something different and rebuild it. And no, Ross didn't want to. I think the deal with Nanny was that she couldn't stand the thought of Ross being upset with her if she sold the car. Yeah.
We're just glad you've got it.
Yeah.
We're just glad it's yours, buddy.
And sometimes we go pick her up and ride her around in it. She doesn't do it very often with us, but every now and then. And she's proud of it. She's proud of it. I took it to her work the other day, and she showed it off to her coworkers. And
This is something to show off. It's very well done, and it looks really nice.
we see a lot of customs, of course, because we're in a custom car group. But we've learned, you know, from all the car shows and stuff, it's got a really nice chop top on it.
Yeah.
I mean, they did a really good job.
Yeah.
We actually, it's really cool. We have a VHS tape. Did you forget about that?
I did forget about it.
We have a VHS tape of this car being done.
Really?
So from it being pulled out of the field, it was in the shop, and
The guy was trying to sell it, and he made a tape, had it up on a lift.
yeah,
And I didn't tell you guys this, but it's got a 70 Nova front clip on it. And with the big 460, they had to change the front end on it so they could fit it in there. And when they done that, the guy went through it. He said it's got a radiator from a Ford truck. Was talking about the engine and stuff, the drivetrain. And then he had it out in his yard, just showing it off, walking around it, and doing stuff with it. And,
Had a cracked windshield.
yeah, and so I mean it was.
Yeah.
But he was trying to sell it, so he made a video of it to send to the guy. Well, that video went with the car. Whenever it gets sold, everybody gets the.
And it's a
stuff that's with
VHS
it.
tape. And we got a VCR the other day. I don't even know where it came from, but we got a VCR, and Chad plugged it in. He's like, "Let's watch this," and we sat there and watched it, and it was pretty cool.
It wasn't a very long video, but
No,
I mean it was.
But it was cool to see it.
Yeah.
To see it then. That
Ross was wanting to show you the. Mikey always called this a Cadillac trunk.
a Cadillac truck. It's huge.
It's got a popper on it.
I'll say
That's big.
really clean and big, and
But when you pull this up, it goes even twice as far.
you got lots of traveling room in there.
Oh yeah. This is full of camp chairs when we go to shows.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
But we always try to tell people to watch their fingers when we close it.
Yeah, because it grabs.
Because all you got to do is just, and then it pulls itself down.
Nice custom feature.
Brian Beal did this just a couple months ago. Ross knew as soon as we got the new paint on it, he wanted it to say Hudson on it somewhere because everybody mistakes it for a Merc. And of course the number 13.
Of course.
The back window.
And the tail lights.
Oh, he wants to add a third brake light
yeah.
to it. Our brake lights ain't very bright, so he wants to
No.
add a third brake light.
They're kind of scary.
Oh, up in this area here.
Yeah, up at the very top.
And this is in memory of a good friend of ours. He passed away back in, was it May? And he meant a lot to our group, so
Yeah.
we all proudly
man.
put that on our cars and wouldn't want it any other way.
Now, the Voodoo Kings are a pretty good sized club, right?
We actually, the Indiana chapter has grown substantially over the last couple of years. Because it used to just be Brian Yancey and Jason Smith here in Indiana, and then they 2 years ago they added three more families to it, and then last year we got added, and we made another guy an honorary member, and then this year we've got three more prospects that we're looking to add sometime soon. So we're actually a growing club right now. So they've been around. The Voodoo Kings have been around for a long time, but the Indiana chapter is just
there's a Kentucky chapter, a Tennessee chapter, an Illinois chapter,
Ohio, Southern, Northern, and an Alabama chapter.
Yeah, there's multiple.
And I think they're getting ready to start I think maybe one in Michigan. So we're growing.
That's a good thing.
The Voodoo Kings have been around, I think Larry said, is 25 years last year, so we're on year 26 this year.
Good. Good. So, listen, I want to thank you three for being on the show today. I mean, it's a really interesting story and a beautiful car. And I'm sure Ross is going to enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Many years to come.
Many years.
Oh, he's coming to
Oh,
show.
here.
So Ross gets on eBay and buys all kinds of Hudson stuff. So he's got this trunk emblem.
He wants to turn that into the third brake light.
Yeah, somehow. And then
That's a good project.
He's got extra tail lights that he's bought. He's got extra hood ornaments. And I always say, you don't need all this extra stuff, and he always says just in case.
Just in case.
Just in
There's
case.
nothing wrong with being prepared.
And we did have to use one of the tail lights because it broke. Yep.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
You just keep stocking up because you never know when you might need it.
Yeah.
So
We have a friend who has an original Hudson,
This is a 49.
a 49, and he's got a friend who owns a place
Doug Waldrick Restorations.
Yeah, Doug Waldrick Restorations, and he has a crap ton of Hudson stuff. So he got to go visit at Waldrick's a few months ago and had the time of his life. I imagine
bet.
if he keeps collecting, he'll end up with a collection just like him. But I try to keep him from getting too much. But one, you'll have more than one Hudson. I know you will, buddy.
That's a good thing.
You'll always have this one, though. Absolutely. I know that. Yep.
Well, thanks again. I really appreciate it, and I'm going to love this video. So
Well, we appreciate you coming out and taking an interest.
Yeah.
my pleasure, believe me.
We
Yeah.
love him and love to share him.
I want to thank all my subscribers. I really appreciate you watching, and if anyone who hasn't subscribed, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Awesome Cars Forever. Thanks.